Stephen A., who's going to be a bigger factor in the series moving forward? Clippers bench or the Suns starters?
I'm going to say the Suns starters because that's what's going to determine whether or not this series is lost or won. If the Clippers bench shows up or doesn't show up, but Kawhi Leonard plays the way that he played, and you get that kind of defensive performance from a Russell Westbrook, you get the kind of coaching you got from Ty Lue, you can manage to find a way to win this game if the starters don't show up for Phoenix the way they should. If the starters don't show up for Phoenix the way that they should, you're not winning this series. It comes down to them. There's a multitude of ways that Clippers can win or lose this series. There's only one way the Phoenix Suns could win this series, and that's for your starters, particularly the stars that is KD and Devin Booker, to show up, okay, and do what they're supposed to do. That's how simple I look at it.
Simple, yes. Easy, no.
I didn't say easy.
Of course not. I'm just reflecting and communicating effectively.
Right.
I actually got to go on the other way. I think it is more about the Clippers bench. Everybody goes back to the 2021 Nets-Milwaukee series where KD was fantastic. 35, 11, and 5, and still came up a toe short, right? And so I think for me, as I'm watching this thing unfold, the depth of the Clippers, their ability to send bodies at KD, at Book, at Chris Paul, at Ayton, they have privilege in that regard. They can spell Kawhi for moments in the game, although he's certainly no stranger in terms of defending the best players when it comes down to clutch. And so I just think their depth is going to give them more stamina and endurance over a series that I think is going to go 7.
Yeah, I mean, the big question mark about this Phoenix Suns team was their bench. Not just their bench, but who was the fifth guy. And Torrey Craig had a big game 1 offensively. All of the Clippers bench guys, Bones Highland, Terrence Mann, Mason Plumlee, Norman Powell, all double-digit in plus-minus on the positive side. Every single person on the Phoenix Suns bench was a negative.
Ooh.
So let's establish that. The bench will be a factor. But I got to go with the Phoenix Suns starters, and specifically is Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant, to me, will be the biggest factor in this series. I think he's that good. The one thing I'll say about Kawhi, because I played against Kawhi 3 times in the playoffs. Once in 2015 when he was on the Spurs, 19 on the Raptors, 2021 when he was on the Clippers. We didn't do it in 15 because that was a different version of Kawhi, and San Antonio played a different way. But in 19 and 21, as the series wore on, we had to double him. I looked at every single one of his 24 shots yesterday on Second Spectrum when I woke up in the morning. I was like, was I watching the game right? Did they give single coverage on every single play? And they did. They didn't double him once. Right. So at some point, they're going to have to scheme a little bit more for him. Kawhi, maybe this is blasphemous. Kawhi, to me, is the closest thing to Michael Jordan in that second three-peat when we talk about mid-range precision.
I agree with that.
There is no wasted movement. There is no wasted dribble. The efficiency is there. You have to send a second defender at some point. You have to mix it up, similar to how Brooklyn mixed it up with Joel Embiid yesterday. That, to me, is also a big factor. But I got to go with the Suns starters, and specifically Kevin Durant being a bigger factor in this series over the Clippers bench.
Talk to me of what your thoughts are about the coaching of Monty Williams. And what I ask him respectfully to that question is his usage of the players in Game 1, Okogie and others, how you're utilizing them, the kind of amount of playing time you're giving them, the level of trust that you place in them compared to what you were willing to do in the regular season. I understand the regular season obviously is significantly different than the postseason. We get all of that. But is there some level of dependency that he's going to have on those guys to help his starters in order to pull out this series?
That's a great question. I played for Monty Williams. He was an assistant coach with me my second year in Philadelphia under Brett Brown. And one thing I'll say, Monty is one of the most detail-oriented people that I've been around in my time in the NBA. He's a tactician. He'll come up with schemes. I asked him about that last Suns game I had in person when we get our pregame meeting with the coaches.
Right.
And the one thing he said is, when we get to the playoffs, night to night, matchup to matchup, team to team, that fifth guy, that rotation will change. Game 1, we saw a lot of Landry Shamet.
That's right.
He played 23 minutes off the bench. I would like to see more Josh Okogie. I think down the stretch of the regular season, to me, he was the best guy to service that fifth man role. There might be times where they need offense and shooting, and it becomes Terrence Ross.
Let me say this. If you do what you did in game one, you could potentially win this series. You ain't winning no championship playing just 6 players, in my opinion. That's not happening.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
You got to play more. You got to trust somebody else. Nobody else got more than 7.5 minutes. Nobody.
I mean, we've questioned the depth and what that's going to look like all year long, and here we are. So
Yeah, but he gave at least Wilbon, because Wilbon talked about it a lot. Obviously, living in Scottsdale, the mayor of Scottsdale, he talked to them all the time. He was like, you know what, we've
great
got a
town.
bench. Wait till you see the bench. They're going to be utilized in the postseason. We didn't see that in game one. Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming, sports, and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.